Right. Hello, good morning. So today, hopefully, we are going to be able to just continue refactoring. Let's see. So I made some changes to the context. That's the new thing. RASK AI. So the conclusion on the whole this thing, we talked about like how the transformer is able to identify components, and it can't like reliably do that. Well, it can reliably do it if there's JSX return. By the way, I'm not feeling super great today. I woke up last night not feeling great, but yeah, let's try. So yeah, if the component returns JSX, we know, of course, it's a component, but there are scenarios where you just return props of children, or not even that. Like you could return like a string or null, for example. And we can't know based on the return value if it's a component or not. So we would have to infer it by like the name, like uppercase, that it has a props, maybe. And also like the stateful ones do return a function, but that's also not safe. Like a function that returns a function can be any kind of function. So it's very interesting how we can't like 100% reliably infer it. So anyways, what we decided to do for now is in the documentation, it just states that you have to return some JSX from the component. So even if you return something like this, you would kind of do, this. But yeah, I'll keep thinking about it. Like I do think yeah, it's like, is it good? Yeah, I'm not gonna go into that. We're gonna look at that later again. But let's look at the new context API. So it's really funny because I built this library at Code Sandbox, or a utility really, which basically is this API, though it's in React. So you create context and you pass in the function. So what you typically do with a context with state management is that you create a context, you create your own component, which acts as the provider, just passing the children, and then kind of implementing the context value. And we had this pattern, and it was like, this seems unnecessary. So I created a create context that takes a function instead, and then you get back the actual provider. So then you just put the provider in there, and if you had props here, you would get the props and everything. It was actually really nice. So it's really inspired by that. So when you create a context, you create it with an actual implementation, and this helps with typing as well. It will infer the return type. So that's good. So for example, with a counter, you create a context, you have a counter context that returns this, and then when you want to inject it, you use inject context, and you get the instance back, so you can actually use it in the component where you inject it. And then in any children, you just use context, and then you'll get the closest value. I really like this. I think this is a good improvement. So let's install latest version, and then let's see how we're gonna do this. By the way, I'm ramping up development on Divergent to-dos again, which is not ideal with this like big refactor. But hopefully there aren't like that many changes. So if we ever get to the end of this refactor, we will be able to, let's see, sorry. If we ever get to the end of this refactor, we should be able to port over the changes made. Onboarding provider props. We don't really need this. We just need this logic. Boop, boop. Cool. So there is no onboarding provider anymore. We're just going to shove it in there. Let's see. Okay, so we have use state. Steps. Oops. Oh, it's current step. Current step. What? How did this work? Oh my god. How did it get the initial step? Oh, it can be null. Oh, okay, fine. It's null as onboarding step or null. I've started doing this more, like just inlining, because most state can be inferred. So it's just like specific state that can't. So yeah, I find that interesting. Anyway, so this will now be state. Yeah, and then let's see, what are we doing here? Is onboarding. Isn't that being used anywhere? Or am I? Oh, interesting. Where was that being used? Oh, we're passing it. Okay, so it's about, okay, cool. So what we're gonna do first is just create a view for this. So this is gonna be use view. I don't think we actually expose the current step, but we do expose. Yeah, and then let's see, sorry. Wait, let's find what we actually need to expose there. Oh, we do expose current step, okay. Let's see, let's just do this for now, and then we're gonna refactor it. So current step would come from the state, and then total step, all of these are derived. So we're gonna make them derived. That would be all of this. Oh, except total steps. Is onboarding state.current step. And then current step index would be state.current step. Like that. And then total steps is just a value. So we're gonna pass in derive there as well, which is gonna take care of those two. And then the rest is just these functions. Oops. -1. Oh. State at current step is null. So this is +1. Ah, there we go. What's that all? No. Oh, of course. Cool. So now we have our onboarding. Oh, there we go. Now we have our onboarding context, and then we have use context. And this one actually throws if you can't find it, unlike React, which allows it to be null. I guess this is a point of different opinions, but in my mind, if it can't find the context, like you have a serious bug in your code, so that is an error like any other error. Cool. So yeah, that's the onboarding context. So we should be able to really just say, well, yeah, that's the thing now. We don't really need to inject it here anymore. So we don't need cache provider. Yeah, we just return app content. By the way, I want to move this electron check to our use device. So let's do that. Device is electron. Return state. I think we can use view here. Is electron. Yeah, let's make that like a like so. Yeah, it's also interesting. The isMobile can't really change either. But I think maybe we should base it on screen size instead. So if you have like a tiny screen on a desktop, it doesn't make sense to show the UI. Yeah, anyways. Okay, cool. So we have our, so that's something we need to test first. Yeah. I'm a little bit unsure how we're going to test this step by step. But let's see if we can find an opening. So we can remove cache provider, onboarding provider. So we're going to look at the router later. But for now, it's the app content. So this is a scary one. This is like, oh yeah, 600 lines of Claude generated code. Let's talk about how we're going to approach it first. So what I do want to do is I want to split up things a lot more. Let's see, we have a bunch of effects here. To do operations. Here we have electron again. And these are bound to different concepts. So yeah. It's a huge ass component. So the different strategies can be, Well, first of all, we have very specific hooks here. So the first strategy is don't split up the actual component, because the gist of the logic here isn't really UI. It is all these hooks. So maybe that's what we should do. We should just focus on refactoring the hooks, and then whatever's like inline here as effects should rather be put into their own hooks. I think that makes most sense. Mobile blocker. Oh, why are they here? Okay. Good. Let's start by looking at use authentication. So this is a nice hook, but we are gonna refactor it because it's gonna have, well, that's another question of strategy. Should we actually refactor existing hooks? I don't think we should do that. We should rather like refactor as in reorganizing, because I want to do that as well. Like I want to have one authentication hook that deals with sign in and sign out and all of this. But that's currently split into multiple hooks. But I think we should rather refactor the hooks we have, and we allow ourselves to add hooks. And then like a second iteration would be to actually like refactor the hooks, like reorganize them. Cool. So let's look at this one. Let's remove React, and then let's see how we would solve this with RASK. Okay, so we have now we just have state. We have use effect, and then we would rather have assign state like so. I guess that's it, because it really is the same thing. Oh, this is interesting. Like, that's also a thing about adoption. If you want to like refactor an existing app, yeah. But okay, cool. So that was pretty much the same, because we do want to unsubscribe profile. Yeah, only thing now is that it's reactive. So let's think about how this runs. So this use effect runs immediately. So we have an on auth changed. We don't have unsubscribe profile. If there's no user, we're gonna assign the state. That's gonna trigger a update. And then if we have a user, we are going to, yeah, let's bring in a device here. Use device. So if we have a user, we're gonna grab the profile for that user. We're gonna listen to changes on that profile, and then we're gonna assign state. So we're gonna update with the user and the profile, and then it's fine. Yeah, and then we unsubscribe whenever what? Yeah, so I think we have one problem here. Yeah, we do have a problem here. So this is, I kind of been waiting for this. So what's happening here is that we are running this effect. Oh wait, no, it's not a problem. Because the only thing, yeah, though I still think we have a problem. Yeah, this is interesting. So this is Yeah, this is so interesting. So here you could even argue that the dependency array actually makes more sense, because with this complexity, it's really hard to understand when the effect is going to run again. And I want this effect. Oh, okay. Yeah. The point is I don't want this effect to run again, which is why there was an empty dependency array. But what if I accessed state.user here in like the synchronous scope of the effect? Then this effect will run again whenever the user changed, which happens within one of these callbacks. And then it would run the effect again. So it would unsubscribe and then set up the subscription again. And then would add the user again. And it would go into a loop, right? But that would be true for React as well. Like if I put user as a dependency because I was using the user here, but then I have logic that changes the user, it will be exactly the same. That's not the point. The point is, how easy is it to detect a loop? Yeah, I guess it's hard regardless. That's why I don't like effects. I don't like it at all. But what we can do here, what is weird here, is to even have an effect. Like there aren't any dependencies here, so it shouldn't really be an effect. It should rather be use cleanup. So this is one of the things that's much better, is that now that we have a setup scope, let's see, unsubscriber profile. Yeah, this is right. Yes. So since we have a setup scope, we can just start the subscriptions here. And that's exactly what I want to do here. I just want to fire up this subscription. And let's clean things up a little bit. On off handle off state changed. Function handle off state changed. User is user or null. Oh, what did I do? Oh, yeah. So just to clean things up a little bit so we can see better how it works. Yeah. So we're basically setting up a listener to the authentication change. And then if the component unmounts, we unsubscribe to that listener and we clean up the subscription to any profile if it's active. So that's super clean in my mind. We actually never like unmount this component, but it's just, yeah. And then we have this function that actually does the thing. And now there's no question about like reactivity here because we don't need to use an effect. Cool. That's a good thing. Did we have any errors here? Yeah, we don't need use effect. Nice. So now authentication is just this. Nice. Yeah, let's move on to the next one, I guess. Let's move on to use to-dos data. Yeah, so this one's a little bit weird because it's only... Yeah, it's only like deriving the actual to-dos from the data. And I think, again, I want to just keep this, but I think we need to make it a derived instead. Why is this? Oh, I guess it's app content. Derived would be, yeah. So let's say we're gonna have state here. So we're gonna have use derived. Again, I don't think we actually need this, but deduce.data. Oh, sorry. That's gonna be, yeah, let's call it Firebase deduce. Firebase deduce. Oh, Firebase deduce data. And then we had is loading, which is just Firebase deduce. Currently it's is loading, but that's going to be, yeah, I guess we can do this instead. So we're going to derive that for now. As I said, I think this can be moved into use todos, because I don't think we ever like use the todos directly. Hi there, good morning. I'm doing good. How are you? Okay, so this one's the same. Yeah, the only thing is that we can't. Yeah, let's call this todos data, because we can't destructure. And then let's look at use to do. So this one's a bit more interesting. Yeah, and this one's also interesting because now we have use authentication here and we have use authentication here, which means that it's actually going to recreate the whole logic for use authentication, which is definitely not necessary. So what I want to do is, which I should have done in the existing code as well, but it's a hassle, is to create a context. So we're gonna do, let's see, so this is gonna be a nice try for this new thing. So we're gonna create a context here. Hello. Then we're gonna oh yeah, look at that. It's my morning. Look at that. I need to, like, I haven't been to a hair, what do you call it in English? Hair cutter. In many years. I have a machine. So either I have like almost no hair, or it's like, it looks like I've lived in the forest for 2 weeks. So I'm at the end game of this batch of hair. So I think, yeah. Thanks for noticing, though. Yeah. Hi. What was it? Rhymes? Mr. Rhymes, or was it Sir Rhymes? Yeah, things are good on my end. I'm kind of pumped because before the whole family got sick, I was working on Divergent to-dos to actually make it Mr. Rhyme. That was the thing. I was working on Divergent to-dos to make it more of a thing, because it is a product. It's a production product, but I haven't done anything to market it or push it. But I have a couple of colleagues that like is like using it all the time. One of them calls himself a power user already. So and he's a marketer, and the other person is a product manager. So I've been like asking them for some advice on how to approach this. And I have another friend that I used to work with in other startups, who's more of a strategy type of person, who also fell in love with this and wants to see if it's possible to push it further. But I'm like, I don't have any expectations. I'm just very curious to see if I can take. I've built many things, but it typically stops at the moment I put it in production. So this is the first time I've built something that I use all the time. I use this tool every day, and it's in production, and I have people around me that's excited and using it. So maybe. Yes. Let's see. So we have our authentication context. And what we're going to do now is that we're rather going to say yes, export function use authentication. And that's going to be return use context authentication context. Why are you complaining? Oh, did I? Oh, it's down here. Oh. Which return value? What was that? I can't remember the... And then we're going to have use inject authentication, which is going to be use inject authentication with authentication context. Why are you complaining? Oh, use inject context, sorry. There we go. Cool. So what I can do now is that now I have my authentication as a context. And this is also what I like, is that you can start out with a hook and then you can wrap it in a context. But this is where I'm a little bit hesitant still on the API. I'm wondering if I'm using context and use inject context more as a, how should I put it? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Been there, done that. See, hello world. Printf. It's amazing, right? When you write some code, like the first time you execute code and it actually does something, like just a mental, I wrote something to instruct the computer, now I'm giving it to the computer and now it does something with the thing I instruct with my instructions. That's a magical moment. That doesn't have to be complex to be magical. But anyways, oh, nice. I'm gonna take a look at that. But one thing I don't quite like is that we're kind of artificially using use context and use inject context, because what the context of React is like authentication provider and consumer, right? I think there's a consumer as well. So what we could rather do is have like authentication context use and authentication context inject. I think that makes more sense because then it's just more seamless. Because then if you want to change a hook into a context, you just wrap it in create context. And then you can do this. And then you'll just say authentication context dot, well, in this case, it will be inject. It just makes it much simpler. And there's like 3 primitives to do this. It's like create context, use inject context. Like you don't need all that. You just need create context. You get this context that you can either use or you can inject it. Yeah, we're gonna change that now. Okay, so I did pull. Let's do this manually, and then we're gonna ask Claude to help us write the tests. Yeah, and then create context also makes a bit more sense because now it was just returning the function. It didn't have any functionality. It was just for typing. Yeah, I like this. So we have use and we have inject. And then basically what we do is we just move these up. Boop. That's use. And this is boop. Inject. Except that inject gets the... Yeah, and this is also... Oh, I like this. Because now the inject, this is the final. Because now inject, you pass the params here. You don't have this artificial use inject context where you pass the context first and then suddenly you might have some additional params. Now the inject method is like instantiating the thing, which is great. Yeah, this is much better. What was this? P? Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I love this. Yes. Okay, clear. So, oh, fuck. Hello, hello. Oh, I really. Oh, make flow sound like you. Huh. Yeah, maybe later. Yeah, flow is amazing, but it's really annoying that it. Oh, what did I do? That the microphone stops working. I'm not sure if it's because of eCam trying to access the microphone. I did start Camtasia yesterday. Maybe that took the... Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so I changed create context again. Could you read that file, update the comment for the usage of that thing, and then also add comments to the returned use method and inject method, and then go and update the docs so it reflects create context, and then also name the menu item and the file in the docs create context, because that's the only primitive now. Bam. Let's look at your pull request first while Claude is doing its thing. Oh, we got more stars. That's awesome. Oh, look at that. Mr. Rhyme. Oh, Etienne. That's... We worked on... Oh, when was that? Etienne. That was like way back when. We were working on... Was it Overmine or something? We worked on another open source project together. Oh yeah, it's me. But maybe we can... Oh, I see. Yeah, but maybe Claude will actually fix this now. Let's see. Yeah, it's because I changed... I was also making updates to the actual signature, so it was like updating the docs as well. So it's just an older version of create context. But let's see what happens now. Yeah, I think maybe I'll have to close the. I hate doing that. Like when people create a pull request and then maybe I've already fixed it somewhere else. Like I didn't read the pull request. I just happened to have already fixed it. Or I've created a conflict that makes it easier to just close the pull request. It's like, it doesn't feel good. Like the pull requests are amazing. It's kind of like it's just objective contribution. It's not like a fluffy, even though that's also fine, like fluffy contributions, which are more like, how should I put it? Like encouragement and all of this. But like a pull request is a thing on GitHub, something you can point to, something that's tracked. Okay, nice. Let's see if we can. Oh, is this the docs? No, that was a demo. pm docs dev. Let's see. API references. Create context. Yeah, it's very much about hooks here, which bothers me. That create context is up here, but that's fine. It's API reference. It's not an introduction. So, okay, cool. Counter context with use and inject methods. So counter context inject. And then with params. Nice. Use. Oh yeah, I think yeah, because I changed I changed the example. Oh, okay, great, thanks. So I changed the example so that it didn't return children, because it created like this, like the AI is very much React, right? And React has a provider to expose a context, so it has this artificial component that just returns children to be able to provide like the context, and that doesn't make sense in RASK, because you just inject the context in the component, and then you just yeah, advice to a beginner in. Yeah, like I wouldn't. First of all, I would never compare myself to to any of like these big names, because you have like a thing I often think about, not often, but sometimes think about, is like, who are our generation's historical individuals? Like you can think about like history and all these big names that changed history, and like and there weren't that many of them, but we have a lot more people now in our generation that has a huge impact on the world, and that's because the world is so much more connected. So the history books of our generation is going to be filled with people that had a worldwide impact just because of how the world works. So Linus, for example, creator of Linux, he's one of these like big historical figures because he has had a huge impact on the world. And I would not compare myself to these people. They are very, very unique individuals that were at the right time, at the right place, with the right passion, the right environment. Everything came together for them. And at the end of the day, they are not happy. They're no happier or content than anyone else. I would never want to be Elon Musk. Like, imagine his day-to-day life and his obsessions. He probably sleeps really bad. He has a million thoughts in his head, racing all the time. Like, you don't want to be that person. I don't think Elon Musk wants to be Elon Musk. And Linus as well. He's not like he's learned over the years, but he he got a lot of power at a very early immature age, and he was an asshole, like a person you don't want to be around. Like, I had never met him, so I should, but he would admit this himself. Like, he was immature. He didn't treat people in a good way, and I could have been the same. Like, any young person, immature person that gets that amount of attention and power becomes an asshole. So yeah, Mark Zuckerberg, it's the same. Like, he's maturing as well. Like, he's not that old, right? But he also was an asshole at a young age because he got a lot of attention and a lot of power at a young age. It's just human nature. So that's my first advice. Don't compare yourself to these people. Focus on what do you think is going to bring. Don't even think about like what's going to make you happy. It's like you're never going to be like fully happy, right? That's not a goal in life, because you can't feel good if you don't know what it's like feeling bad, right? This is the rhythm of life. So what you want to find is something that draws you back. Like, I talked to a colleague yesterday about this. It's like I'm very much up and down. Like, even this stream, it's like I can stream for a month, then I don't stream for a month because I just don't wanna. But I'm super content and often very happy when I stream. But it's not like consistent. So, but what I think everyone needs is to find something to do that kind of brings them back. So for me, it's programming. And it doesn't have to bring value to the world. Like, even this RASK project, like, I have no idea if anyone's ever going to use this. I just like the process of building tools. And that's the thing that always draws me back. It's like I have some idea and I can spend like 2 weeks not really doing anything. And I can feel demotivated. I can feel, I don't want to say depressed, but I'm kind of very demotivated. Nothing like, but it's been this way for me for years on years. So it doesn't affect me. Like, I'm just kind of lying on the couch waiting for the next idea because it always comes back. And then I focus on the work. Like, I enjoy creating tools. And then that's what I do. I don't care about how many people use it, if it ever is finished, anything like that. I just enjoy the thing. Well, like, scientifically, money, it depends on the country you live in, but scientifically, there's a certain amount of money you need to feel content. Anything above that has no relevance for your happiness or your, I don't like to say happy because happy is such a in the moment feeling. It's not, you don't feel happy over a longer period of time. Like, every day you're a little bit up and down. You're not constantly happy every single minute of the day. It's like it's moments of happiness and excitement and stuff like that. But being content, that's more like rational. You can say that I have a good life. I'm content with my life. I earn enough money. I have my ups and downs, but they are like within the bounds of like being operational in the world. It's not like I'm not depressed. I'm not, yeah. And and you don't need all the money in the world for that. Like, too much money has the opposite effect. You can so one of the biggest problems having a lot of money is that it changes your environment. So you can think about things like you can buy a cool car, you can buy a big house, all of this stuff, but it alienates you from everyone around you at that moment because we, like human beings, we group together. Like we live in a place, in a house, in a neighborhood with like equals. Like it's because of the price of the house, right? So we have like some equality in terms of how much money we make. And if I were certainly to make a shit ton of money and I would like move away, or if people knew that we suddenly have a shit ton of money, people would treat us differently. We would live our lives differently than the people around us. We would alienate ourselves from everyone around us, which is really bad. Like you feel like an outsider with too much money. And then maybe you seek a new community of equals that has a shit ton of money, but they might not be that nice people. So yeah. So it's not about money. You need enough money, but it's not about making as much money as possible. The thing that's going to make you look back on your life is finding community and finding content. Which sounds super boring, but I'm kind of upset with the whole thing that's happening with, yeah, and I guess both of you are the target audience for this. Like these influencers that wants you to, tries to convince you that to find happiness in life, you have to make a lot of money. It's bullshit. It's so bullshit. I did talk to another colleague about like how our parent generation, like they would build their own house, right? It's about finding like what's your purpose in life. And for the previous generation, it was like, yeah, we want to build our own house. We want to make sure that we have a good income so we can go to a warmer place in the winter with the kids. Those kind of things. Those were the ambitions, because those were the dreams of their parent generation, right? Because they wouldn't be able to build their own house. They didn't have money for it. They couldn't travel on an airplane with the kids on vacation. Couldn't do that. But now we have grown up with that. We have grown up in a house owned by our parents. We've grown up with traveling on vacations. Like, we've had everything. So what's going to be our ambition in life? And then you have these influencers that's like, okay, you're super privileged, you have everything. What's going to be your, like, compared to the previous generation, you're super privileged. So what's going to be your ambition in life? Well, it's going to be making a shit ton of money. So, yeah, anyway, sorry. I got on a life perspective rant. But I think about this stuff a lot. So, yeah, anyways, back to coding. Front end. It's a good question. Of all the things coding wise that's gonna die, front end is definitely gonna be, well, it's not gonna die. Like, we're gonna have front ends. The question is, like, are developers, front end developers, gonna go extinct? I don't think they're gonna go extinct, but their tool set is gonna change drastically. So it won't be as much coding. But you still need the creative side of it. And like, you can use an AI to generate a lot of front end, but it's gonna be generic. It's gonna look AI generated. It's gonna be hard for you to communicate your values and create something that's unique to your company. Because if you talk to a human being, they're actually going to ask you a bunch of questions and really dive into it and kind of get a shared understanding of what you're trying to do. but you'll treat the AI as like, oh, just make it pretty. Yeah, it's the junior thing. That's the yeah, that this is the big risk. Like being a junior developer, that is it is risky. But there's a much bigger risk, which is like if there are no junior engineers, who are gonna bring the knowledge further? Like we're in real risk of losing knowledge of programming. Because you have all these, so what's happening now is that you have all these senior engineers that knows programming really well, and then these junior engineers are coming in, but they're being cut off, right? Because you have AI that can operate soon, probably at the level of a junior engineer. So, but these senior engineers, they just get older and older, and then they're gonna die. And then who's gonna, where there's a knowledge gap there. So that's a big problem. And this has happened before in history, where the people with the knowledge just grows old and dies. And then even technologies vanish, which is crazy. But yeah, I don't know how things are gonna look like. But my point about but like if you're worried, like this is the thing, like if you're young today, you're worrying about work, like what's my job, my day-to-day job gonna be. Don't worry about that. It doesn't, there's no sense in thinking about what am I gonna do in 5 years, because the world is gonna be a very different place in 5 years. And this is true for any generation. Like, don't worry about, like, even my generation, my partner and her friends, they all studied to go into the oil. Well, not my partner, but some of her friends studied to get into the oil industry. And they did. And then they all got fired. Because suddenly the renewable energies and all of this stuff happened. So you never know. So the point of coding isn't that you want a job in 5 years to do programming. If you enjoy coding, if it trains your brain to think and you enjoy doing it, you should do it. Don't do anything at school. Don't learn anything for a specific occupation you want in the future. Do it because it teaches you something. And learning programming doesn't only teach you how to do programming, it teaches you how to think, how to solve problems, how to have a narrow set of tools to solve real world problems, how to approach a problem, how to understand problems, how to communicate with other people about problems. Like, there's so many things to learn about programming that applies to all kinds of occupations. So don't worry about how much money, like the specific occupation you need to make a lot of money. Just find something that makes that teaches you something. Yeah, RASK UI is gonna be a safe haven for. I'm gonna intentionally make it hard for AI to write RASK code, so it needs a human. Yeah, like programming is just a tool, like a freaking hammer. Um, you're not solving a programming problem. You're solving real problems, which is why I think like all engineers needs to have a product mind as well. They have to care about the problem they're solving. I really like, I read this book about startups. Like a lot of startups start with a founder that has experience within a certain field, has a certain skill set, and then they come up with a cool idea. But that's not a proper startup or a proper founder mind, really, or a problem-solving mind. What you should rather do is find a group of people that you collaborate well with, and then go out in the world and find a problem worth solving. It doesn't matter what skills you have. You're just good at collaborating together. And of course, you have different experiences and skill sets. But the point is that any skill set can be applied to any problem. So as a startup, you rather go out into the world and you find a problem worth solving, and you find it and you try to understand it, and then you try to find a solution for it. You don't come up with a solution to some thing inside your mind, and then that's very unlikely to be a success. So yeah, one example of that was like, there was like 3 friends or something, and they were like, okay, what problem are we going to solve? And then they found an issue with the inefficiency of cleaning companies, and they got hired at a cleaning company to learn about cleaning companies and like, why aren't they working? And then they started their own cleaning company because they had identified like, why is this a problem? Which isn't very exciting, right? But they had major success with it. And I find that myself that, oh my God, I'm just sitting here talking, but I find that myself that it's not the programming that, it's the problem solving. It just happens that I use programming to solve problems. Oh, okay, let's publish this. Let's see. I don't know if I answered any questions here, but yeah, that's my thoughts on the matter, at least. Git commit. And then, okay, so now I need to publish. Oh shit, my bad. Oh shit, we're using it. Oh my God, my bad. Oh, look at me. Yes, I need to use my phone to release it. Let's run the tests, which is gonna mess up the camera probably. Oh no. Oh yeah, this is a, what was this? Oh no, this is this is the thing about the stream. Like, we just go where the, I love getting questions like this. So it's more like, I don't want to bore you with my answers. It's not taking the diverge into a different path. I love that. And I love sharing my like experiences and perspectives, but I don't want to bore people if they came here for programming. You should see my morning rants. I can spend like 30 minutes ranting about something before I get going. Oh yeah, I think I know what this is. So there was an issue with, oh, is this an environment thing? Because this was failing on my, oh fuck, I think this is, wait, did I push this? So on my laptop, I can't run the tests. It's a dependency issue. I fucking hate dependency issues. It's horrible. So there's something about how the dependencies are resolved that makes it unable to run the tests. But it works. Oh, did I turn off the music? But it works on my laptop now because I made some changes, but now it fails on my other computer. And it's just it's just because of, yeah, JS DOM. Maybe it's the Node version that causes this. This is 20. Node. Yeah, I'm using 22 on my other computer. MVM use. Yeah, look at that. No context available. Oh, what did I do? What did I do? Why are these failing? Error state. Oh, use catch error. What's happening here? Inject. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. It should return state. My bad. But still, it's failing. What did I do? Oh, use inject. Oh my god. Didn't you? Oh, I forgot to tell it to update the tests. Oops, I forgot to tell you to also update the tests. Please do that. Yeah, let's just get this done and then we can publish it and then we can wrap up the thing. It's really interesting. I'm discussing with some colleagues about Anthropic. They wrote some documentation or an article, I should say, on more efficient tool calling for AIs. It's very interesting because we're working on sandbox environments, and I'm thinking about like how we started with LLMs, which was like an inference endpoint. So you have like an API that you can call, and you can give it a prompt and you get some text back, right? It's just a request response thing. That's where LLM started. And then we got this thing called agents, which is basically just the same thing. There's an endpoint, an inference endpoint, and you're calling the LLM with a prompt, but you also give it a schema of functions or tools. And then the LLM can pause its execution and send back, I want you to call this tool. And then you call that tool and get the response, and you send that back to the LLM, and it continues execution. But it's still like, there isn't like one agent. You have your implementation of tools, and then you have an inference endpoint, and you're kind of combining that into an agent. But what would like a true agent look like? And that's what we're thinking about with, or I'm ranting a lot about with sandboxes. It's like, what if the inference endpoint wasn't just this API, like almost like a REST API, right? It was an actual sandbox. So you have a sandbox that's running an inference endpoint, but it's a full environment, like it's a full computer environment. And then, and when you ask it something, it has a set of tools that it can just run internally. So you don't need that back and forth of I'm defining the tools and then I'm going to connect this API endpoint over here with some tool usage down here and so on and so on. And the power of that is that in a sandbox, the AI can create scripts to run different tools much more efficiently. It can change code, it can run code, it can do pretty much whatever it wants, which is maybe a bit scary as well, but Like that's a true agent in my mind. It's like asking a computer about something, not asking a text endpoint about something. A computer in the cloud. Oh my god, this took a long time. Come on. Oh, it's trying to run the tests. Let me run the tests. Okay, so it fixed some of them. Wait, why are these suddenly start failing? This is weird. No context available. Why are you saying that? Use catch error. Catch error context. Inject. Current component. Set. Hook. Get context hook. I don't understand why this suddenly starts failing. Think. I didn't make any actual changes to how the thing runs, so why is it failing? Oh, wait a minute. Oh, sorry. Wait a minute. What's this like? Use catch error. Oh, wait a minute. Component. Get how do we grab the sorry. Catch error context. Oh, I know. Sorry. I know what's wrong. Let's see. How are we going to do this? So we're saying, yeah. Sorry. This is just, oh, this is nice. This is actually improving it a lot. So we can do catch error context, use. Yeah. There we go. That's much better. Do we have this in the other one as well? Cool. We have that thing. There we go. Over 200 tests. That's nice. Yes, then let's fix component catching and tests. Let's push that. Let's build it. And then let's publish it under, I guess this is another semi-breaking. Since we're not on 1.0, these are breaking versions for now. It's not documented anywhere, but bump. Okay, so when I publish now, I have to grab my phone and mess up the camera. So you'll have to excuse me, but I have to drop off soon anyway, so that's fine. So that would be browser. 84248. By the way, I'm looking forward to this evening. I'm gonna watch Stranger Things. That's an amazing show for someone who is 40. Yeah, you see that? It zooms in the camera. I'm not able to fix that, but whatever. Because Stranger Things, like I was born in 84, but I have a brother who's 11 years old, 11 years older than me. So I have a lot of like 80s, 90s. I love that period. And Stranger Things just captures it beautifully. Where's oh, there we have it. Okay. Let's see now. Restart. Nice. We should also move. Let's see. Let's move use authentication to context, and let's rename it to authentication context. And then, yeah, we're exporting the authentication context. I really like this. I think this is a good way to do it. So we're gonna rather export the onboarding context. Like so. We don't have to do this anymore. Why are you complaining? Oh. And then we don't actually use it here. Yeah, and then use onboarding, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's kind of funny. Like the use view came from really to not break reactivity. So it was kind of a forced utility. But it's a really nice concept, especially with hooks, because it makes you kind of think about what you return from a hook as like a public API. So a view is like, this is the view of the hook, and it might have a lot of internals, but this is what I want to expose from it. And it makes it super simple to compose it, and it handles all the typing and everything. So it's, yeah, I really like it too. Cool. So we had, where were we? Used to do data. Let's see how much time I have. Let's take a quick look at this. And then, oh yeah, we were looking at authentication. So now we can do authentication context use. So now we have authentication here. This is nice. I love this. And also that we have this like very clear concept of hooks and contexts. I really like that as well. So they look exactly the same, a hook and a context, which I also love. But here we just wrap it in create context so that you can either use it or you can inject it. Well, so you can easily like move a hookup like we did now, just move it to context, name it like authentication context, wrap it in create context, and then you can inject and use it wherever, which is super nice. Yeah, it feels quite seamless. Anyways, use to-dos. It needs authentication. And then we have this crazy pipe thing that is some crazy stuff. But this is about fetching, right? Yeah, it's not about just fetching. It's also a subscription. So it's keeping it up to date. So we have, yeah, I think we're gonna actually just run our own state here, just like we see here. So we have is loading. What does it start with? True or? Yeah, because we're gonna run it immediately. And then we have to-dos as to-do. Oh, it's data. Cool. And then what we're gonna do instead, so this is gonna be interesting. I'm gonna grab all of that, remove this, and now we're gonna, yeah, and we really just need to return state now. So this is one thing that that's how should I put it? So by default, we allow mutation. So basically when I return state here, like anything from the outside can point to state.data and make changes to it. The good thing though is that it's reactive. So if you make changes to it from the outside, anything that uses that data is actually going to be in sync. But you can also say that you shouldn't be able to do that. And there's really no way to kind of protect that. Well, there are ways to protect it, but it's tricky, and I think it's better to have. Yeah, I would really want to explore just having like the discipline. If you want to prevent that, it's just something you decide. It's not enforced. It's kind of like React as well. Like if you put an array in a reducer or wherever, you can mutate that. The only problem is that it won't keep the UI in sync as opposed to here. Oh, let's see, create use effect. I can't get away from the term create. I don't know why I keep writing that. Cool. And now we're gonna, let's see, we're gonna assign state like so. So now this effect is gonna run immediately. And if we don't have a user, it's gonna basically assign yeah, I wonder if we... No, we need to run it immediately. Yeah, so anyways, it's gonna assign it immediately. So we don't have a user. The thing that bothers me a little bit about this is that we never have a user at this point. It needs to authenticate first. So it kind of has this like, yeah, I guess we can, yeah, what we can do. So if no authentication.user and state.data.length, or let's say, sorry. So if we don't have a user, but we don't have any data either, we're just gonna say, yeah, we're just gonna return. Yeah, because I'm making an assumption here. Oh, this is interesting. No, wait. This is not right. How is this gonna work? So if we don't have a user, we're returning. Oh, this is the hard part with refactoring. You're adding another dimension to what you're trying to express. You just dump something else built with something else, and then yeah, sorry. So if we don't have a user, we're not going to do anything. And what I was trying to do is, because what's going to happen here is that it's going to kind of trigger the state again, which is kind of necessary in the initial loading phase. It doesn't matter, really. Yeah, of course it doesn't matter because it's synchronous. Yeah, sorry. I don't know why I got hung up on that. This is fine. Okay, so what's going to happen here is that we have this authentication and it's running in the background. So when this effect runs, there is no user. So it's just going to assign the state, but remember that later you might sign out, right? So, and you don't have a user then, it's going to reset the data. That's the whole point of this. is that we want to clear out the data if you sign out. That's basically it. But if we do have a user, we want to go in and set up a query, and we want to listen to changes on that query. And again, we're going to assign state, boop. And we're returning that snapshot disposer, so that if for some reason you would just change the user, the actual user, then it would do the same thing. It will kind of rerun the query with that new user and change out the data, but that never happens. Like, you don't flip users. You sign in with one user and sign out with and sign out, and then you might sign in with a different user. But yeah, this is nice. And then we are used to use data, which is deriving this, which I don't think is necessary. Like, we can rather put this inside the other hook and drop this hook altogether. But anyways, we have it now. Okay, and then, yeah, I have to drop off soon. And then we have some state. So this is now split up in many different hooks, but this can be a single hook now. Show subscription dialog, auth model state. Yeah, I'm not sure why that's called. Yeah, I should probably change the name of that. Has left landing page. Not sure why that is in a function. Has left landing page. And then we have current view. So that will be calendar as calendar or activity. And then we have activity here, which is bloop, like this. Is loading activity. Oh, false. Should pulsate. I have no idea what all of this stuff is. We're going to figure that out. Probably move a lot of this state into hooks. Pending view. Null as calendar or activity. And the thing is, like, there's probably going to be a refactor here that's like very inspired from the current code, which I would implement differently if I did it from scratch. It's just a hazard of doing these kinds of refactors. Yeah, let's call this something. This is previous week dialog. Null as previous week dialog or null. Let's create that type. Oh, look at this. And here we have onboarding. So here we want onboarding. So now we can just do onboarding. Look at this. Inject. And now we have onboarding here. And we have onboarding in any subchild. Yeah, I think I'm going to drop off the stream now. And then we can continue on edit profile. We are here. On the next stream, that will probably be... I haven't had much success streaming in the weekends. But maybe I'll be able to this weekend. I'm also, since I'm working on Divergent to-dos as well, there's some issues to fix there. I should prioritize that. Yeah, so I'm a little bit unsure, but I really enjoy starting my mornings like this. So we'll continue at least from Monday, maybe in the weekend. We'll see. Okay, thanks for following along, and then have a good weekend. Hope anyone who's been following Stranger Things has a chance to binge it. And then I'll be doing that as well. Also driving my SnowRunner trucks with my new wheel. So it's gonna be amazing. Cool. That's it. Bye for now. See ya.